Hi guys, it's Lynn here. I hope you're all keeping really well and safe. Now today guys, in this video I'm going to be doing this over a couple of days of a bit of a watering on my succulents here in the polytunnel. Now a couple of days ago I did a series of 2 or 3 videos where I rearranged all the succulents here in the polytunnel. I'll just show you. I did this table here, which is my Crassulas, Agaves, Graptobatalums and other types as well, Aeniums. I rearranged all of these, and I also did the Aloes, Agaves, Gasterias, Haworthias, all rearranged on there, and also the rest of all the succulents as well, an assortment of ones on there. And I did mention in that video I was going to start to give them a bit of a watering now, and I was actually going to do it after I made the videos, and I decided to do it maybe the next day and now do it as over a couple of days, a little bit of a video series for you. I'm going to talk a little bit when I'm watering the plants and a little bit about them as well. And what I will be doing over the next few days, probably the next 2 to 3 days, I'm going to start to do a complete video tour of the cacti and succulents here in the polytunnel, because there's a lot going on at the moment. There's lots of buds coming on them, which is really exciting to see. To show you there, that's a couple of Minhonzi's Matucana cacti coming into bud, and we have quite a lot that's starting to bud because it's just early April at the moment, and where we are here in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, the temperatures are still being cool. We've had a series of lovely days, very mild and quite bright and even sunny days, been lovely temperature. But the nights have still been very cold. So obviously I've gone very, very easy with the watering, with the cacti now. And I did make a video probably about a week ago where I talked about watering cacti for the first time. And I explained why, even though it was March then, I'm being very careful with the majority of the cacti, by still keeping them all dry, even though some of them are forming buds and that, because purely my climate here is cold and damp still at this time of year. Temperatures are getting warmer, but we don't get the dry, arid atmosphere that we would in other parts of the world. So that's why I'm withholding watering off the majority. I just mentioned in the video that I watered some of the Rebusius, Camelobivus, Camacerius, because they are in very small pots, and they are showing signs of buds already, as you can see there, and also buds coming up on there. So they're in small pots, so they're the only ones I sort of really watered, and then a couple of the ones also in the very small pots. They're all bone dry again now anyway, which proves that they dried out pretty quickly and they needed that bit of a watering. So I watered the ones I know are going to dry out pretty quick, and only watered the ones that are very desperate. As you can see there, I mentioned that in the video, I watered some of the Apuntias. That's my Apuntia humifusas that were completely shriveled, and look at them, they've fattened up really well now already, and the soil, as you can see there, is dry already. So the majority of the cacti here I'm going to be keeping dry now until the weather really warms up. And personally, my experience, if you don't water them and they're forming buds such as here, they still go ahead and form buds because they go by the day length. And here in the polytunnel, although it's green coated, so this does sadly minimalise the amount of sun the cacti get. It still gets direct sun. When the sun comes out here, it does hit all of the plants in this polytunnel, and they do get plenty of sun. But obviously, in an ideal situation, clear, if it was totally clear, it would be more direct sun, which is good. But it does have its advantages, because on very hot days during the summer, the green coating does give a bit more shade. Doesn't seem to affect them flowering, which is good. But as I say, I made a video when I started to water some of the cacti for the first time, and I go into many detail on there on why I'm watering some and why I'm not watering many of the others. So if you know the time of year can be a bit dodgy for you too, and you're not sure whether you should start watering your cacti now or not, it really does depend on so many things, like for example, are they growing indoors or outdoors, and your climate. So if you want to know a bit more on that, do check that video out on when to start watering your cacti for the first time. Links up above. And this, as I say, is purely today. What I'm going to be focusing on today is watering all the Agaves, Aloes, Gasterias and Haworthias. And in tomorrow's video, I'm going to be watering all the other succulents I've got, which are all the Agaves and everything, and the Crassulas. Now, the reason why, I have to mention this while I'm on the subject of watering, why I'm withholding on the majority of my cacti, except for the ones in the small pots and some of the Apuntias, is because cacti are far, this is personally only my experience now, far more rot prone if you water them that little bit too early in the year than succulents are. I don't think I've ever really had a succulent rot if I've watered it, sort of, especially not from late March, April time. They definitely can take a lot more water, especially these ones I'm going to be giving a good water to today. This is going to be their first real watering of the year. I have watered them, even last week I did give the majority of them a little bit of a water just to start them up, and they've fattened up a bit, but now I'm going to go ahead and give them a really proper watering. And as I say, they're a lot more resistant to damp and cooler temperatures than cacti would be. And as you can see, cacti do store a lot of water in their plant bodies. Succulents do as well. I mean, all cacti are succulents, but not all succulents are cacti, obviously. But many succulents, for example, these aeniums, you can see there, does need a good drink. And I mentioned that when I did do a watering cacti and succulents video. I watered a lot of these, including these crassulas, and they're fattened up nicely. But they're all completely bone dry again now because we've had some nice sunny weather here. So this is me going to be giving them all a really good watering this time. And again, I have got, I filled up the watering can with tomato fertiliser. I gave them all a good tomato fertilising when I first started them off. Now, I normally recommend using it with every 2 to 3rd watering, but I've decided to use it again for their second big watering now. And I've just used it to even more of a half a strength than I normally would again. I recommend using tomato fertiliser at half the strength I recommend for tomatoes, and because I fed them with the tomato feed the last time, I've actually used quarter of the strength, so even less again, just a little bit of a top up, just because I want to give the first 2 waterings a bit of a good go with the tomato feed. Then the next few waterings after that, I'm just going to use plain water with them. And as I mentioned, why I like to use tomato feed with my cacti and succulents. So if you haven't seen that video, do check it out. I'll link above to that video now. Links up above. Basically, any good quality tomato fertiliser that is higher in potassium, that does encourage flowering as well as healthy growth as well. And I use a brand by MaxiCrop that has seaweed extract, so that also helps to strengthen the plants as well, bit of an added bonus. So here we go, guys, that's a little bit of my waffle out the way, and I'm going to be starting on now watering all on this stand, and that's going to be today's video. So I've got a mixture, as I mentioned when I rearranged all of these, a mixture of aloes, gasterias, haworthias and agaves, all mixture. I have more agaves down here. These are very big agaves here. These go into the yard once the chance of frost has passed, which probably be another, probably because it's still only early April, could be another few weeks even, but they get plenty of light under there for now. And then I'm going to be repotting this one probably in the next few days, because then it will have a chance to settle into its pot in there before I do put it out into the yard for the spring and summer months. But obviously these are all our smaller ones. We have some more aloes, our larger growing ones here as well, very large, obviously too large for the plant stand, and very healthy at that. So that's a little bit, to tell you a little bit about the plants. Now I have made a couple of videos actually. I've made a video on how to care for aloe plants. So if you're new to aloes, or you just want to watch the video, you love aloe plants, do check out an in-depth video I've made on how to care for aloe. As you know, there's many different types of aloes. Some will slightly differ in their care requirements than others. Some like more light, some can even be grown practically in full shade. I have mine sort of in semi-shade. Here does get sort of full sun. The sun comes right through there and also through the back, but they are slightly shaded because they're all grown together, and that almost gives them a bit of a forest effect. They do very well there, but some of them, I'll just show you an example. This one, when it was on the stand over here, got too much sun and it's gone very red. And that's why I've put that a little bit more in a shadier position than, say, these other ones. Agaves usually like as much sun as you can give them, so they're not a problem. And Haworthia and Gasteria are great because they can take either full sun or shade. I mean, I've even grown Gasteria and Haworthia in total shade, as long as they've got a nice bright window. But as like all plants, they're succulents. They do appreciate, Gasteria and Haworthia do appreciate some sun if you can give them some, but some sun, a bit of a tongue twister, but not, they don't like full direct sun. So that's just a little bit of tips there about these plants. But as I say, do check a video I've made on how to care for aloe. I go into so much detail in there, links up above. And also I've made an in-depth video on how to care for Gasteria as well. Now this is Gasteria. They often get confused with aloe because they're sort of similar-ish, but they are different. These are Gasterias as well. They often sort of grow with a bit of a fan sort of appearance to them. Beautiful, beautiful succulents, and they are great as well if you don't have lots of sunshine or a big sunny window or sunny position. They can grow in indirect light as long as you can give them, as I say, mentioned earlier, a nice bright position. But personally, in my experience, I do appreciate a bit of sunshine, especially for encouraging flowering. Another Gasteria there. And I've made a video on how to care for Gasterias, and do check that video out, links up above. And that's it really. I haven't done I have also made a video on agaves, how to grow agave in a cold climate. So if you live in the tropics, lucky you. But if you don't, if you're like the majority of us, you grow agave in pretty much of a cold winters. Even people who have lovely summers often do find that the winters get cold. Do check a video I've made on how to grow and care for agave plants in a cold climate. Links up above. And the only video I haven't made on how to care for will be Haworthia, which are these here. But the Haworthia with their care is pretty similar to Gasteria and Haworthias. Gasteria and Aloes, similar in the care. Again, Haworthia is another one, can take sort of semi-shade and semi-sun as well. But I will plan on making a separate video on Haworthias entirely because they do vary slightly. But because the care is pretty similar, it's easy for me to keep them all together. As I say, aloes do vary. Some can take as much sun as you can give them, others do prefer more shade. But that's a little bit, do check them videos out, guys. Anyway, that's all of my waffle. And now I'm going to be going on to giving them all a good watering. Now, as I've mentioned in a few videos when it comes to watering, I like to use one of these, I think they call them sort of water pressure sprayers. Let me just double check. People always ask me what they're called. Yeah, pressure sprayers. And these are really good because not only has it got all the measurements on, so if you're adding fertilisers or whatever else to the water, it's easy because it's all in litres. But also the fact, what I love about these is they have long handles. So obviously, if I was trying to lean across there with a watering can, however thin of a nozzle, I'd probably end up knocking all the plants over. And when you have as many plants as this, it is difficult to reach right across the table. So with these little nozzles, you can go right in deep to the pot there and you're not spraying the whole plant and splashing water about. These are great, guys. And these, I can't remember where I got this from. I think maybe in Amazon or eBay, but they're pretty easy to pick up. A lot of the garden centres have them and they're relatively cheap too. And the hardest thing is pumping them up. It's a real arm exercise, but they are great for reaching them parts you can't normally reach with the watering can. So here we go then. I'm going to start off on here and start off with this little one. As I say, come to watering, these are great for hitting right in the base here. And here, these I say are great for getting in between the hard to reach places. I want to sort of thoroughly soak all the soil there so they're all thoroughly soaked. And then what I'm going to be doing is doing all of these plants. I don't need to show you the whole thing because it'd be a very long video. But just to let you know what I'm doing here. This is what's really good as well about these. You can go right in there without having to go over the plant, which is good for these ones that are sort of overhanging a little bit there. So this agave and this one as well. Now the third shelf, I just mentioned these, although these look very agave-like, they're actually called Dickeas, and they're actually part of the Tillandsia family, commonly known as the air plants on bromeliads. And although these aren't air plants, obviously, they are related to that same family. So I've got them here because they sort of look very sort of aloe and agave-like. These little Gasterias here, ones that I've grown myself from seed, doing very well. I'm going to carry on doing all of these then, and then show you what it's like when it's all done. Now just left for these big ones on the floor now to do. Give them all a good watering. A few different types of aloes. These are Aloe Arborescens that I've grown myself from seed also. And this is also another Aloe Arborescens, not one I've grown from seed. This is one that Hans has had for many years that he brought over from Sweden. And this is a lovely big old traditional aloe vera that Hans brought over from Sweden as well. Very, very old plant there. So these are the only ones I got left to water now. And then that's it. It's important to thoroughly soak the soil, obviously. I mean, everyone knows how to water, but just showing you that. To say this is great to get in all between them hard to reach parts. And obviously when you've got such, for example, aloes like this all bunched together, it's important that you reach all different areas of the pot so they all get completely a good watering. And it's also really important that you keep, I hear them seagulls, you keep the water away from the leaves. I mean, this is what's good about this particular type of watering device, is that you can just aim it at the soil, and a lot of overhead watering cans and that tend to go all over the leaves, and aloes can rot if they're kept wet leaves, or water I should say is kept in between the leaves. So that's got a good soak in there. And to do this one, to say thoroughly soaking. And then with these in the big pots here also, make sure all around the bases. And all the other parts. There you go, guys, that's them all nicely watered and all going to be filling up nice and fat, ready for the active growing spring that we're in now. And as I say, I've made videos on how to care for aloes, also how to remove the dead leaves from aloes, also how to care for Gasteria, and how to care for agave in a cold climate. So do please check them videos out. As I say, the links will all be up above on there. And the only ones I haven't watered are my 3 big agaves there, because they're going to be going out into the yard when the chance of frost goes, and they're going to get plenty of rain when they're outside. And this one I'm going to be repotting in the next few days, so stay tuned for a repotting agave, big agave Americano video coming soon. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I'm going to be watering all of these succulents on here, the Echeverias, crassulas, aeniums, and a mixture of different ones on here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about them and mention what care instructions I've got for some of these as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. And if you haven't done already, please do subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. Ding ding. And if you want to know a bit more on how to grow cacti and succulents, do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. And I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power from across the Emerald Isle. And until the next video, till tomorrow's video, bye. Nice, happy aloes and agaves, Haworthias, and Gasterias.